Hey, you guys. The most targeted citizen here. Hope you're having a good day. One of them days for me. Doing a little breakfast talk for you. We're having bacon, egg, and cheese today. Anybody go back and I appreciate all the response on my ticket video. That was nice of you to come and view. You little cocksucker, you. So, going back to the comments. The guy with the most comments, the comment award goes to James Stern in Georgia, DeKalb, Georgia, I believe it is. He goes out. He's from New York, of course. He's Yankee. Listen, for all the people that moved from up north down to the south, me and every other Southerner, we hate you. Are you listening to me? We hate you. Do you understand that? Because you sell your dump up there and come down here and buy our properties at a quarter of the cost what something up there would be, and then you could just retire, and then you vote our way of lives out because you don't like the way we live. We hate you. Do you understand? Yankee scum. So this Yankee scum, he goes up to law enforcement and firefighters in EMS, and he asks their permission, and then he goes out and he records them and films them and to make it more personable in their lives for the community to be able to connect with their public servants. Well, no wonder he's defending them so much. I guess he's just never been pulled over. I would never give law enforcement trouble. I would never do that. Listen, remember when you was growing up and your mom cooked bacon? And one part of the bacon was raw, and the other part was hard as a rock. I don't like my bacon like that. So what do? I grab it in my hands and I cut it up with scissors. And I cut it into little pieces. That way it all cooks evenly. You get a better cook, you get better flavor. Because I don't like crispy bacon, I like my bacon soft. Just like my old saying, the only good pig's a dead pig. Well, the only good bacon is one that's evenly cooked. That way, you go on crunchy bits, and then you ain't got that raw fat. Oh, the fat's the bad stuff. You got to take the fat out. No! In the South, we eat the fat. So, James Stern, the defender of all that's great and holy, who defends law enforcement to no end. The only facts he has is the ones I give him, and nothing that I said is true, according to James Stern. Think about this, guys. Now, the people that have watched my channel for a while that know me, when I say something's happened, what's the truth? It happened. Is it the way I say it? Absolutely, 100%. It's always the way I say it happened, because I don't lie. See, people like James Stern, they lie all the time, so they can't believe that somebody would be honest, so they always assume that what somebody else says is a lie. I ask permission to film firefighters and their fire trucks. I ask permission to do it, and then I take pictures of them. That's what I do, because I ask permission. If people live through COVID, now listen to me, if you live through the tyranny of COVID in America, and your opinion of law enforcement is they're the good guys, you're sick. You are demented. You are twisted. When you see mothers being arrested for being at a park with their children during COVID, you are the problem. You guys remember the video of the windsurfer? The guy was on a paddleboard out there in the San Francisco Bay, I think it was. This dude is social distancing like nobody's business. Then you see law enforcement in boats and from the beach chasing him down to stop him from paddleboarding because he's such a danger. If you think that's appropriate, you're the problem. Because you see, the same cocksuckers like James Stern, they will gladly try to get you arrested for using your speech. against law enforcement. This is how they take a free society and turn it into a communist society, just the way the left does. These ultra cop suckers are worse than the left. At least the left can say when law enforcement crosses the line. But these ultra right and Democrat, Republican doesn't matter anymore. That's not part of the game, because that's two heads of the same snake. And just like when they say far right, there's no such thing as far right. Hillary Clinton made up that term. Hillary Clinton made that term. But these copsuckers, and I'll tell you, the majority of them are Donald Trump supporters, because, yay cops, we have to protect and defend our cops. Have no clue about law enforcement. So, of course, James Stern has to come on here and defend law enforcement. To what end? If they kill your family, will you still defend them? You see, the difference between me and James Stern is because I can't stand to see anyone. Are you listening? I can't stand to see anyone being violated. I can't stand to see anyone abused. My black brothers and sisters, to the Mexicans, anybody in this country, I can't stand the people that are supposed to be here. I can't stand for them to be violated. I think that when you live in a society like America, where if you've got the money to pay off any ticket in the world, you're untouchable. Because monetary fines only work on people who have a monetary problem. In other words, monetary fines only work on people with a monetary problem. That is what? That means it's a war on the poor. Pastor in North Carolina 2 days ago, arrested. What could a pastor possibly do? He housed the homeless in his church. Did you hear me? He opened the doors of his church up like churches should do and invited the homeless in so they wouldn't freeze to death. Now he's got a court date. Are you listening? Who was it? What, Rogue Nation down in Florida? Or I think it was Vice News and then the Institute for Justice. Cops arrested a woman for feeding the homeless in a public park. See, these people like James, they will kindly step right over a homeless person on the sidewalk. Block it out, block it out, block it out, block it out, block it out. Gladly step over that victim of society. Not only that, this is the same kind of person like in Jeff Gray's videos, Honor Your Oath, who will pick up the phone and call law enforcement. Excuse me, cops, we got a guy out here begging. We can't have beggars out here. It looks bad. Law enforcement, come arrest this man. He's holding a sign talking about God. You can't mention God here. This is what we're dealing with in America. We have criminalized compassion when homelessness is at a higher rate in America than it's ever been. And let me preface this by saying there are many people that are homeless because they choose to be homeless, but the majority of our homeless population are mentally ill. They can't stand to be in these places because most shelters are nothing more than a prison camp. And a lot of people would rather opt to being out in the cold, in the wind, and the rain than being locked behind a door. I would feel the same way. I don't want to be locked behind a door where I can't escape if I need to. But people like James Stern, I film police. I get their permission first, and I always make them look good. I wonder. Well, I don't have to wonder, because I can guarantee if law enforcement told James Stern, "Don't film us, man," James Stern would gladly take his camera and walk away. All right, guys, I'll see you at the station next week. I'll make you look good, though. I'll make you look good. Thanks, guys. tech tip for men like me with broken hands and wore out bodies. Put your bacon in a Ziploc bag. It's easier to get. And the same with cheese. It's hard to get those little packages open. It's got the Ziploc top like the pepper jack cheese. So I always put it in a Ziploc bag, zip it up, get all the air out of them. It just makes it easier. And plus, most bacon doesn't have a Ziploc bag, so it doesn't keep it as fresh as it needs to be. So I always use Ziploc because these hands have hit too many people, places, and things. James Stern! So I have to do things to augment my reality. But you would think a photographer like James Stern would look at First Amendment audits where all people are doing is going out in public and recording public officials. You would think that he would say, if it's not against the law, why are they being harassed? Why are the cops attacking these people? Why are men getting arrested in public buildings? Now listen. Here's my critique of some First Amendment guys. If you're like auditing Enrique, you know, auditing in America, we have 100 million views on YouTube. We have 100 million combined views on YouTube and TikTok and MySpace. Like him, or San Joaquin Valley video thieves, those guys that abuse our rights. Fought for by men like my forefathers. You listen to me? It wasn't these invaders that are here now that are abusing our rights like San Joaquin Valley Transparency, video thieves, or auditing Enrique. And you can ask many of these guys because I'm quite prolific with my commenting. Like when Rogue Nation started doing his First Amendment audits, I was on his ass. I was like, listen, dude, you're just abusing your right. And I don't think it's necessarily an abuse of using your First Amendment. But if you're getting violated and you're not holding them accountable by filing lawsuits, then you're empowering that bad behavior. So I told Rogue, I said, dude, or Captain Awesome, as his name goes, I said, if you're not going to sue them, you're just wasting your time and my time because you're empowering bad behavior. And he said, the lawsuit's filed. I'm doing it. And then I started watching. I was like, he's serious. He's filing lawsuits. Dude, deal done. Jeff Gray, lawsuit every single time. And here's the misconception that a lot of copsuckers like James Stern don't understand. You know how much it pays out to get your civil rights violated? Hardly nothing. You have to get shot, beaten, or killed to get any amount of money. Which is ridiculous. And the same goes with like Long Island audit. I was on his ass too, and he's like, I'm suing. Now, he takes the money and donates it back to people. But here's what I would say to Long Island audits and all those guys that donate their money to other causes that don't have anything to do with First Amendment accountability and civil rights. Why don't you take the money you get from these lawsuits? Because, I mean, Long Island audits, he's probably making $30,000 a month. Did you hear me? He's probably making $30,000 a month. So instead of taking that money and donating to your favorite charities, why don't you take that money and help others that have been violated to higher representation? You pay for the lawyer yourself. The money doesn't even have to touch the hands of the other auditor that was unlawfully arrested. Why don't you take that money and help smaller channels get big? Why not have a video where what you do is you highlight other First Amendment auditors that are just starting out? How about not even First Amendment auditors, but innocent people who were like me that were violated by cops long before they were ever an activist? You think 20 years ago I give a rat's ass about what cops did? I don't care. I didn't care how crooked they were as long as they left me alone. But the problem was they never left me alone. Why? Because they set me up for a crime that I would have never committed if they wouldn't have set me up. So why don't these big channels that's making all this bait and here's my biggest pet peeve. I watch these channels. And these guys, I mean, can you imagine $50,000 a month from YouTube? Can you imagine making that kind of money? What baffles me are the people who would go out and buy them like $200, $300, $500 worth of stuff and give it to them so they can open it up online and say, look, you gave me this stuff. They got 50 grand a month. Why are you buying them anything? If they wanted it, they could buy it. So why don't these channels bring up the other little guys? You see, just like I told you before about these channels that go out and bless people on camera. Oh, look here, smile for the camera as I give you $500 to help you out. I've got $500,000 in my pocket, but I'm going to give you $5 so I look good for the camera. Unlike those guys, I don't film myself. I don't record myself when I'm blessing someone. Because God says, don't share your alms in public. In other words, don't go out and praise somebody to get the praise. You're not blessing somebody if you expect somebody to thank you for it. So anytime I bless somebody, I don't say nothing to nobody about it. I don't tell the woman I live with, I don't tell anybody I bless somebody. I just go out and do it. But cocksuckers like James Stern can sit there and watch a video of cops beating people up because they want to record, but they won't say anything about it. Well, the cop had the duty, the cop had the right because he was interfering, because that cop had to take his attention off this situation and walk 57 feet over there to that photographer, because the cop has ADD. And you know that cops with ADD, they can't pay attention to everything at the same time. So he had to arrest that auditor 57 feet away. He had to do it. It was either him or the camera, and it had to be him. Are you getting my drift? That's how insane this world has gone. Where people were literally, and it's the old saying, you know, first they came for the Jews, and you were silent. Then they came for the whites, because they are, and you were silent. Then they came for the blacks, and you were silent. Now they're after you, and now you want to talk? So how can these people openly ignore the corruption in this day and age? Just like the FBI is the premier law enforcement agency in the world. Really? Really? Have you heard of the Hunter Biden laptop? Have you heard about that? Where they were 51 intelligence agency members says it's Russian disinformation. First, it didn't exist. And then when it existed, then they said it was Russian disinfo. And then when they proved it wasn't Russian disinfo, then they said it had nothing to do with Joe Biden. Now it has something to do with Joe Biden. Now it's, oh, well, we had to stall long enough till the statute of limitations runs out. The two-tier justice system is there, big and small, whether it be Joe Biden being corrupt and criminal. Well, they went after Donald Trump, but listen, everything they're doing to Donald Trump is absolutely criminal, what they're doing to that man, okay? It's criminal. Why do I say that? Because I stand up for everybody. When I see somebody being abused, I stand up for them. The same thing happens in our little society where the poor people are being abused. Well, I'm going to take your money. You can't learn this lesson, so I'm going to take your money. Just like when you see a pig pulling over another pig. What happens? Oh, I'm a law enforcement. Oh, are you? Okay, buddy. Slow it down. Have a good day. I watched a video the other week. Well, no, it's a couple months ago. Where is in Las Vegas. No, is in Nevada. The guy's doing 131 miles an hour in a Dodge Charger. Gets pulled over. Flashes his badge. And the trooper's like, hey, man, you can't be doing that. I can really get in trouble for letting you go, but I'm going to let you go. Guess what would have happened to me if I would have been speeding like that? They would have beat me half to death. It'd not have killed me, because when somebody is... listen, just like with my traffic stop, the one that James Stern says didn't happen. I just made that up. I guess James Stern doesn't know me very well. I was polite and cordial until the very moment I knew he was a lying pig. Because when he said that he saw I didn't have a seatbelt on, there's no way in hell he saw my seatbelt on or off. Because at that time I had all my hunting gear stacked up on the dash that high into the windshield. And my shirt was the same exact, maybe a half shade off the color blue. And yet I'm speeding by at 70 miles an hour. When he says, I'm going to cut you a break on your seatbelt. I was polite up until that point, and I was still polite until the traffic stop was over. You see, when a law enforcement officer hands you the ticket, you are free to go. That traffic stop's over. So for James Stern and all these other, oh my God, all the other copsuckers that come out of the woodwork, well, that never even happened. What? I got 1,000 things that I could record me doing. I could show you 1,000 different things of government accountability, how I'm being abused by the federal government, being a targeted individual. I got to make up a story about being pulled over? What does that do? You got clicks and views. I don't need clicks and views. They're not going to let my channel get big. Every time, if I get up to 1,500, when I get up to the paywall, when they start to let me make money on it, they shut my channel down every time. Because communists like James Stern say, oh, we have to silence him. His voice is getting too big. I asked permission to film law enforcement and fire trucks. See, I thought, because I read his profile and it said that he was a fireman. And then I went a little deeper and found everything about him. You know, I mean, you can get online and find somebody's address or phone number. You can find everything about that person. I mean, I was that close to messaging him on Facebook. But it's just, I lost my train of thought. See, the stupidity makes me stupid. The stupidity of others is contagious. But to think that is it really hard to cuss law enforcement? I mean, God is not happy with my behavior at all. And I had to ask forgiveness. As soon as I drove away, I asked forgiveness. But the Bible does say this, that evildoers will always seek to see the evil, that they assume you are as evil as they are. So they would assume that I lied about it. Listen, I had the video, and with my phone getting hacked all the time, it got filled up on space, and I'm just sitting there deleting. Sorry. Wasn't a very good video anyway, because when I started filming it, I wasn't pointing at him, I had it on the dash. But that's okay. The body camera footage, you will see the body camera footage. That is if the judge approves me having it. But still saying right now, well, I looked up online and I didn't see you didn't have court date. You lied about your court date. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Hey, tell me this don't look good. Look at that mound of flesh. See, bacon, soft, chow for your sweet and savory. And you got your eggs with heavy on the bacon and some mayonnaise on a tortilla. I like fajitas. Anyway, I'm Stuart Pidlone, the most targeted citizen. Have a good day, James. See ya.